My name's Tom, for those of you who I haven't met. I'm the content director at Fresh, and I just got back from Japan, and I'm getting good at telling everybody that. That's becoming my new thing is, hey, did you hear I went to Japan? It's really good, you should go. This is Nina Las Vegas. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things to do with Nina, and we've obviously got questions for you guys as well. The way we're going to break it up, because Nina wears a lot of different hats, is to focus first on the artist that is Nina Las Vegas, and then we'll move into the label side of things as well. So hopefully we'll kind of give the full spectrum of just everything that you cover, which is pretty expansive and amazing.
I don't even know.
Exactly. What's the best way to figure out how to get that first song out, and how did you do it? How did you come to that point where, all right, now's the go time?
Well, I needed something more than just being a DJ and a curator. Mm-hmm. I was really into it, and I thought I did a pretty good job, but I just got sick of not being able to be the artist myself. And I think when I kept advising everyone else, I was like, what do you want to do? You do that. And I'll put your mix out and I'll give you the gig. I started wanting to listen to my own advice. The advice for someone that has a million songs, go to the best one and put it out first.
Do you consciously take note of the feedback that you get in a digital sense, or are you sort of wary of keyboard warriors when you put music out on social media?
I'm aware of keyboard warriors when I say something political, and I hate that because it's like, what am I meant to? Can I swear? So I'm like, what the fuck am I meant to say? Not say anything? Like, would you rather me not have an opinion and not say that our government fucking sucks and lockouts have killed our society, or not? And so I'll post something that I believe in, and then people are like, oh, just stick to music. I'm like, get fucked. Like, I can do whatever I want. And I don't understand. Like, would you seriously rather me not say anything? That's when I don't care. I also don't care about opinions. I'll read them if I'm bored, but a lot of people will stop me reading them. And I also just have to remember that some days they'll affect me more than others. Unfortunately, being female, everyone will always think that I didn't do everything myself. And I think that's something that I just have to be thick-skinned about, because I fucking know I did a lot of it. I don't do the mastering because a lot of, most people don't master their own tracks. A lot of people don't even mix their tracks, so it's kind of like, that doesn't worry me.
How do you, as you evolve as an artist, how do you think you're going to go about picking new people to collaborate with and managing, I guess, that hesitancy around their skill base and what you know?
Well, I mean, the difference between sitting in a studio by yourself and a studio with another person or two other people is it's a billion times more fun. Like, just the reality of, you can do it on your own, but it's super fun to have someone in there, even if they're sitting there talking at you, yelling about something that's shit or something that's works, or playing FIFA, which is what Swig does for half the day. It's kind of it's still cool because it's someone to talk about, or even someone to G you up if it sounds horrible. The days when nothing works and you just have been on a loop and then you realise you've accidentally recreated a Tinashe song, by hearing it, which happens to everybody. You kind of just go, oh no, but I did find a cool snare. And you just move away. Or if something doesn't connect or doesn't work, at least you have someone that's I had fun.
There you go.
And you have to enjoy it.
Tell us about why start a label? What was in it for you at that point?
Because I saw a gap within Australia a little bit. I kept getting releases that sounded the same from Australian. Everything was either, beatsy with a drop and then a vocal on the hook. Not even, a vocal between the hook and the drop or whatever. And also just house as well. And house that to me didn't have guts of people that had been going out till 6 a.m. for 10 years and can really write a fat bassline tune. Sounded like people that that kind of when you walk in and to DJ Warehouse or like a music store, and then like the guy behind the counters made something as a demo, and you're like, oh, it's all right. Like, it's cool. I felt like I kept getting stuff like that. And I was like, that's fine. People's ears changed and people started liking it, but I like tougher stuff. And then I started seeing that artists I like that were Australian were putting out music on labels in other countries. And I was like, how come they're not getting signed here? And then the other side was that I put a release out on The Nest and I put a release out on Fool's Gold, and I didn't feel part of them. And it's like, isn't the best thing about Owsla the fact that everyone owns that identity? If you're on Mad Decent, you walk around with Diplo and Instagrams, and you're part of Mad Decent, and even Future Classic have that. They can put on like curated events with a Future Classic lineup. Their t-shirts are worn, you know, that kind of thing. Sweat It Out has parties, like it's all those kind of feelings. And I was like, well, maybe I could start one. I think the other thing I wanted NLV Records to do was like put out tracks that don't necessarily have to have radio play. I found that a lot of people were worried. I would love, don't get me wrong, all the signees would love to have Triple J support here and like other radio support, but I was starting to get in conversations with young producers that were like, oh, you know, I've done this track, but Triple J didn't add it. And I'm thinking, so what? We didn't add Disclosure for the first 2 EPs, and look where they are now, you know? Like, that kind of stuff is just like not crucial, but everyone puts a huge emphasis on it. Like, we don't even play Fostradamus, and they're selling it like Enmores. It doesn't matter. With NLV Records, if you were submitting me demos, I feel like that would be cool if I really love it. I kind of would want to know who you are, and we'd hang out, because I know all the guys already signed, and I'm proud of that. Also, if you look at the house party event, like the tours we ran and some of the big acts that we pushed, it was really obvious that I was friends with them too. And even to get Flume on that first tour was a matter of me hanging out and getting drunk, you know, like, and convincing it. And I feel like that kind of relationship is as important. So then if you put your track out on my record, you know that I'm going to care about it.
Moving on from that, I wanted to talk a little bit about Heap Station.
So Heap Station is an organisation that I founded with Diplo in 2007. Also another DJ, Andrew Levins, and now it's a fully functioning music and creative organisation. Unfortunately, thanks to the new government, we lost $100,000 in funding for 6 months. So we have a pretty heavy 6 months ahead. Brandis cut every single youth organisation. I don't know if anyone knew that, but every single. So when I actually posted about something political, I had a lot of ride because it was affecting me.
In your opinion, if I'm a producer in Adelaide, I've just written an absolute screamer, and I think it would work, how do I start that conversation?
I think the best thing to do is really research. Look at what you want, see how active they are. If you do a Twitter search, especially in American labels, all the staff show up on their Twitter feed. Hit them up. Most people who are producers, like, I can't stress in America, Twitter is my biggest form of communication with a lot of people. Obviously, you reach out. You also think about what your track is and if it's similar to anything out there. If it's similar, I would think about maybe not going with the same people. I think people like something different and new. I also think if it's always send the mastered version, always send the finished stuff, but you can openly say, but if you like it, I can do more. Always know their product. If you like Sweat, email Sweat and say, I loved this, I love this, I loved it. This is why I think I would be good on Sweat. I know as a label manager, I'd really appreciate that, because all these guys have a mission too. They want to put the music they love out to the world. So if it's good, if it suits you, it suits them. I think it's pretty easy to get a song out. In terms of then going through that process, I can't stress enough, even if it's a free download, everyone will have a contract. They'll own your track for 5 to 7 years, or they will own your music. So if you're ready for that and it's fair, cool. But even if you feel like it's no big deal, it's your first thing, like Harlem Shake was no big deal. Seriously, it was free on Jeffries. So you just have to be ready for something like that. So I'd always recommend going to a lawyer if you do get lucky enough to be contracted.
Has anyone got any questions for Nina about anything at all?
So I'm under the impression that you have a clothing label.
No.
Really? Oh, well, you make...
I do merch.
Yeah.
Like when you're a band or whatever, you do merch. And I did the house party tour and I did 3 shirts, and this one, I don't know if you know the one that's like the main NLV one, that's like the square that like literally like it's very lucky, but Dylan Francis will not stop wearing, and every morning I'll wake up and I'll give him a tag because he's worn it in a video on them, and it's so like old and worn out, and I've sent him so many new shirts and he just won't wear them. He just really likes AS Colour, basically, he's saying. But yeah, so that just happened naturally.
When you're considering artists for your label, do you think about their ability to play live? And is that something that you're looking at in terms of the evolution of the label long term? Do you want your artists to be able to perform live?
I think a big part of why I started NLV Records is because I couldn't find enough music I wanted to play out. So at the moment, like, playing the record, like, it was so funny. Once the sampler came out, I started DJing, and then I was playing these new tracks, and I'd have these moments where I was playing them and I was like, oh man, I put this out, like, and I just would forget. So I think, no, it doesn't worry me. It's hard because you can DJ and be a resident, and that's fun. And then you can be middle range, and that's fun too. But then if you want to be really big now, I don't know if it's like that in Adelaide because you've got the Fat Controller just open, but in Sydney, you're either Alice in Wonderland or like nothing. Because it's really tough right now with our lockout laws.
So as I understand it, you sort of learnt to produce like by yourself and with the help of others that you knew.
I went to Ableton School for like 4 weeks.
Oh, okay. But the main thing was like, when you actually work on your tracks, not necessarily making that particular track good, but how do you figure out what you want to improve on? Like, how do you figure out exactly what it is that you should improve best?
Do you know when you like listen back to stuff and every time you hear it, you're like, oh, it sounds a bit shit. And you just got to get rid of it. What I've started realizing, because I watched a few people work, is singing along to it and knowing, oh, I could add more here. Also, just keeping the track you like and then just like pushing it through a billion different dumb Ableton filters is a cheat, but sometimes you find really cool stuff. Like that, again, I'll go back to Justin Bieber, but that drop in Jack U is his vocal sampled into a MIDI pattern. Like, that would have been a mistake, and it just fucking hit gold. So I think that that's what's cool. I think you have to like every part of it, and if you don't, ask an opinion and be like, do you like really like this or not? And if someone does, then ask them. At the ABC, at Triple J, we were taught a feedback method for dealing with like grumpy bosses. That's like literally, but I thought of it how I would talk to people about music. First question you ask is, if you're talking to someone else or you think about to yourself, what do you like the best? What would you have changed? Not like what you hate, like stay positive. And what have you learned? So if you can come out and think about the song like that, and then move on and put it into another part, that's fine. But things sound shit so much, like, it's just the nature of the game.
I just, at this point, want to thank Nina so much for coming along, and I'd ask you all to put your hands together and thank Nina Las Vegas for us.
Thank you. This is really cool. I miss the mic. No, I don't at all. I don't miss my job at all. That was a joke.